Thanks for joining me today. What I wanted to do was share a little bit about why I sketchbook. I think it is one of those things that a lot of people wish they could do or wish they did more of and just don't get around to. Well, the reason I sketchbook is because the reason I sketch in sketchbooks is because it makes my life so much richer. It helps me slow down and really see what's in front of me. It helps me notice the details of my life, whether I'm visiting a brand new place or traveling and doing something exciting, or if I'm doing the most simple of things, which could just be eating toast and drinking a cup of tea out of my favourite coffee cup. Those simple things, I think when you sketch them, if you take the time to sketch them, become so much more precious. It gives you the opportunity to really appreciate the craftsmanship that's gone into your mug, the flavours in your toast, the extra of life that can just flit away and disappear if you don't take a moment to drink it in. It's a way of expressing gratitude to the world. Some people use it for memory. Some people use it because they want to improve their skills. That's certainly another reason that I use it. I want to improve my drawing skills and see the progress. There are so many wonderful reasons, and I'd love you to share why you would like to or whether you do actually sketchbook. Now, what I'm going to share today is one of my more recently finished sketchbooks. I have a lot. I do have a whole shelf full, and I know there are people with more and there are people with less, but I have quite a few sketchbooks that I've collected over many years. It was 1st of January 2017, that gives my age away, doesn't it? That I decided to sketch or paint or draw every day-ish. So I am not good at the chronological order thing. I just put a date on the page, and I'm not going to actually deliver them to you in chronological order. I'm going to share a few, and this is the one that I finished not long ago, but I'm going to share with you today. So hopefully it will just give you an idea of some styles, some techniques that you might like to use, some subjects that you might find interesting, and the way that I've approached them. So it won't be an in-depth too long sort of thing. It'll just be a little look, and hopefully it will spark something in you that might have you sketchbooking as well before you know it. All right. I'd love to share the joy, and I'd love to share the joy of a full sketchbook. That is such a good feeling. It really, really is. And like so many people, I didn't start sketchbooks so often, and I still have a shelf of beautiful sketchbooks or beautiful notebooks that I haven't started yet because I just feel like they're too good to use. Well, once you start, it feels really good to finish the first one, and then you can get into the next one and the next one after that. So hopefully by seeing my full sketchbook as well, you'll have that sense that it's possible to finish one. Okay, let me show you through. Hey, here's the book. I like to paint my covers because they get really grubby, and this one was painted after I'd spent some time at the beach. So obviously it's inspired by Ken Doan, who's one of my absolute favourite artists, but I had actually just been snorkeling on the reef. It wasn't half as bright as this, to tell you the truth, but it was lovely thinking about the shapes that I'd seen because that's definitely what I was looking at when I was underwater. Okay, so just a bit of a run through here. So these were actually painted on the flight to Proserpine. You can see this is an aerial view looking out the window of the aeroplane. I was lucky enough to get a window seat, and then going back in time. So this is September 2022, but going back in time to May 2020, I do remember sitting down cross-legged during this scene of Queen's Park in Toowoomba, just practicing my figures, and it was quite loose. I probably would have done more drawing now, but I may have run out of time because I'm pretty sure I was with the kids that day as well. This was in front of a friend's place. You can see that's the tree that we could see just above her deck. Once again, experimenting with some really loose washes first and then drawing on top. I don't think it was a huge success, but it was fun to do. This is the view from her deck. What I really wanted to capture was this bit. I'm always fascinated by tablescapes, but obviously the fish tablecloth, and then the view out to the river on her deck is lovely. And it was pretty quick because I was chatting as we went. This spread I really like. It's actually through the windows of a catamaran boat. My brother-in-law built this boat, and these are the kids viewed through the windows of the boat. So my nephew and daughter and another daughter and a couple of nieces, I think, here. But yes, I was really, really happy with the way that turned out because there's a lot of detail inside the boat. But this was the subject, and it's probably the first time I've painted that way. Once again, one that I like, Daughter on the Monkey Bars, done ever so quickly. This one wasn't as much as a success, but it's a memory of the day that we played disc golf, which is like frisbee golf. Yeah, lots of fun. This was good. This was watching a football game, a school football game during COVID. So here we are back in August 2020. So no one could actually go. But these are the colours of the two schools. I was sitting over here. This is me. And I really wasn't worried too much about likenesses except for noticing what people were wearing, how they were sitting, what they were sitting on, knee rugs, animals. Lots of fun there, remembering that really lovely evening with friends. This was pretty rushed. This is visiting an aunt and uncle in Stanthorpe and having a lovely boozy lunch, really. They live in wine country. So, yeah, it was a quick one, but a lovely memory captured. This is actually from working. I was part of a, what do you call it? When you get selected to do a course for a long time. I was at Canvas Co-working. It's like a seminar anyway. So this is what was on the table that day, and just a record of that drawing while I was learning and listening. I think I did this as a demonstration. You can see there's actually some salt still. I can feel it on the page. Some salt still as a bit of a test how it would go on the wet paint. I don't use it very often, but it was a bit of an experiment. And that's from early this year, practicing it. This was actually a drawing by my niece, who I lent the book to at one stage. She's very talented and a good little learner. This is inside that boat. So this is sitting inside and just a bit of a view. But once again, not worrying too much. Can you see the layout of that page? I mean, I started probably with the windows and then decided to add some of this information about the boat. No people, interestingly. They might have even been going off to get some lunch. But an odd layout that didn't bother me at all. Sitting in a cafe on my way back from Brisbane, recording what I could see. I do quite like going out and about by myself. I really do. These were from, this was from visiting a friend's place, a very nice cocktail. And this was from a live that I did in December that year. While I was away, we did a bit of a about me, I think, and I drew as I chatted, and that's what it ended up being like. I remember I do have a spotty dress like that I wear on holidays. This was at the same friend's place that I did this cocktail sketch that I wanted to remember. And she had this fabulous tablecloth over a bench that was on two just drums, actually. So it made a bar on two oil drums or petrol drums. So it was definitely worth noting with all the different bottles there. Once again, this was a live explaining what the club was back then. December 2020. We've had a few changes since then, made it better, I hope, but just a bit of a mind map about what we offer in the club, the Shiny Happy Art Club. This was a demonstration watercolour based on a canvas version that we do in the online club as well. Back inside. So Cobb & Co is a museum that's nearby where I live, and I remember I was with a friend from the coast after New Year's, and I really was interested in capturing just the idea of all of these very interesting crisscross-backed chairs, but also leaving some of the drawing. So I started with the drawing, then added some colour. You can see I didn't add drawing into the top here. I just gave the impression of that sort of pergola area. So I like that variety then from the busyness of the drawing and then the looseness of the colour on the one page. This was a bit of a group painting. So some girls that I used to work with, we got together for a bit of an art night. These were the things that were on the table, and I got them to sign their names as a lovely memory. Really, really encourage you to draw with your friends if they're even slightly interested. This day I was with a friend at a cafe, and he was so patient listening to me chat, and it just looked beautiful actually. It was sort of spring weather, even though it was autumn, it was lovely. And then I remember 4th of May the 4th be with you. I thought, oh, better do something Star Wars. So this one is actually recorded on another YouTube video. So I did that later in the day once I realised what the date was. And if you look this up, I think I do it upside down to try and help me get my proportions right. So that's well worth looking up in another YouTube video. Now we're going forward in time again, because this was just last August, a bit of an experiment, being really, really loose and letting the colours blend in with each other. Probably not as loose as I wanted to be. Okay, and I think I overworked some of those colours, but gee, it was fun experimenting. And this is also viewed from the top, looking down onto a bay or a harbour. So yeah, just wanted to capture some of the different shapes of the boats that I could see from the angle that I had. That same weekend, I was up there with friends and managed to find my way, luckily, ever so luckily really, the way it worked out, into an urban sketching workshop with a fellow that I have admired for many years and met at a sketching conference a couple of years ago, and had to catch up. I was about half an hour late, but he stepped us through his process for drawing, and I had a couple of things with me, but I think my blue pencil, there is some blue pencil there, might have run out, and I had to change to the red though. And that is the Airlie Beach foreshore. There was these art displays on at the time, and his other sketches and families. I was pretty happy with putting the people in, and this was one of the things he was encouraging. I often draw without people, but it's good to put them in. Same trip, while friends were chatting at dinner, I think, or lunch it was, and I was able to see this tree from where I sat at the cafe. Once again, big empty space here. I could include some writing if I wanted to, but I'm okay with leaving that space. This is another version just from last September of that sort of look through the window of the boat thing. So we were on our way out to an island, and you could just see the view through the boat, and that I knew I didn't have much time. So that was a quicker way of getting the idea down on the paper. But yeah, happy and fun to do that. Look, I wasn't running late. I was just the last person on the boat, but this is looking down. Whitehaven Beach is up here, but looking down from one of the lookouts. And I really didn't have much time, and some kids chatted to me. But oh my goodness, it was just so beautiful and overwhelming, the beauty of the whole thing. It was looking down, Whitehaven Beach, sort of around this in the Whitsundays. Look, I didn't leave the white behind. I had to come back and put white in. To add those boats, but it was just something that needed to be captured. And look at all these little people as ants. It was interesting putting those shapes on because it was a busy old day. This is on the beach itself, so we had some more time there after lunch, and I got sort of some of my friends are included in the water here, but once again practicing some boats. I did overwork a bit in here, but it was a lovely experienced, actually, like doing all these marks for the water. I was pretty happy with that. So yes, enjoyed that one a lot. This one grew over a few days actually, and I started it, and then I did some more work on it when we got to the airport. But yeah, it was just trying to remember what I had seen underwater and building my own sort of reef and then adding some colour. But yeah, that's where I got to, and that's where it finished. I don't have to finish every painting. I don't have that sort of rule in my sketchbook. Visiting a winery, of course. This is actually one of the labels with my artwork on it. Gorgeous sunset at Rosalie House. Quickie one because I was with friends. But yes, had to record that lovely sunset over the mountain. This was practicing some tiger pictures just to see how I could stylize some tiger faces. Not too long ago. So I looked at a few different tiger artists and to see what I could do. Visiting a friend. This was a magpie sitting. This is the same friend that I did the tree and the deck earlier in the book, but a couple of years later. Yes, just wanted to try some different colours and patterns there. This was back in time again, back to December. So I had quite a bit of time here. I know I did a reel about this on Instagram, and my kids came and went, my sister came and went. I just got to sit there and enjoy this drawing and really, really not rush it. I think I was sitting there for about 3 hours. I certainly wasn't drawing the whole time, but I took my time and enjoyed it and had a snack in the middle and chatted to people. There's a lot of lovely memories caught up on that double page spread. That was my daughter sitting there in togs that were way too big, really. But it was lovely because she was sitting still and let me sketch her quickly. Once again, practicing tiger practice, obviously, just seeing how I can stylize them. And at the beach in January, it was a grey day, obviously. I love real bodies. I really, really do. But it was interesting to capture the grey day and the colours in the ocean of that greyness. So I overworked again, probably a bit too wet. But it was a wet day, so it sort of makes sense. And this is a bit of practice. This was a while ago. Definitely not in order. It wasn't done after that one, but a bit of a practice with how I can overlay colours and shapes. So I think it started, and that would have been built up over a couple of sessions as well. I do tend to find a lot of these, a lot of leaves squashed in my sketchbooks as I go over the time, but there you go. This actual sketchbook, I should have mentioned at the beginning, is a travelogue sketchbook by Hand Book. Travelogue sketchbook. I do love the 200 GSM paper, and I really quite like the square format. Okay, so there we go. A little insight into this particular sketchbook. I hope it gave you some ideas that might have included sketching through the window instead of sketching what's in front of the window. And the one about the reef, just sort of combining all of your memories, what you can think of, because I don't know if you've ever, I think we were just snorkeling, but you know, when you've got so much in front of you, it's really hard to remember what you saw when you came back up for air. So it's important. Like, I had my gear with me on the boat so that I could remember it, but I didn't want to take a camera with me when I was snorkeling. So it's a memory that I managed to capture there, and I almost did it on behalf of my girlfriends as well, because obviously they all sketch a little bit, but not as much as I do, and it was lovely chatting to them about what they remembered, and it was part of the experience of the weekend as well. So hopefully you've got some ideas there that might get you sketching and experimenting, and realising that not every page has to be your favourite. It is your sketchbook. You don't need to make everything wall-worthy. Just enjoy it and feel it. Feel it, because that's when it feels so good, and that's when you've given yourself the gift of learning as you go. All right. Thanks for joining me for this little sketchbook tour, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.